Hey guys, it's Ali again, and probably one of the most classic questions that we get in real estate is, should I buy a home or an income property as my very first investment? And listen, I don't have the corner on the stuff. I don't have the magic bullet answer, but what I do have for you are some pros and cons to consider. So for instance, having a home. The positive is, it feels awesome. King of your castle, right? Pretty cool. But the headache is, it could be burdensome. And now let me tell you right now, I'm going through a little water intrusion episode in my own house, and it is really, really burdensome. Yes, I feel the king of my castle, but it is, it can get burdensome with just the upkeep and so forth. Another pro is tax advantages. Now this is up to a certain point. So it's not like you can own a $5 million property and everything will be written off. There are certain guidelines that the IRS and your accountant should be well versed on in terms of the tax advantages. So that's a really big plus. The negative is it could tie you down, right? I mean, you have a mortgage, you have roots down there, it may tie you down. So it's just something to think about. Another pro is potential appreciation. Now, listen, in the, I'm gonna say mid to late 2000s, this country got in trouble with banking on appreciation as a country, right? So that's why I'm saying potential appreciation, right? You don't just bank in every single year that your property appreciates no matter what. So I'm saying potential. I'm soft pedaling that a little bit. And then the negative is this whole equity facade. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Let's say your property is worth $1 million and you have a $500,000 mortgage on it. Immediately you're gonna think, hey, I got $500,000 to play with. Well, that's a facade because you can't just take out that $500,000 unless, of course, you sell it, less closing costs. You can only take a fraction of that out. Let's say 50% of that equity that you have, which would be $250. Still a big chunk of change, but it's not the full amount that you think. So those are pros and cons in terms of owning a house. Let's flip over to the income property. Now, the pro is it's one of the easiest, most established ways to build wealth in this country is to own rental property. I mean, you look at all the wealthy people out there, that's what they're known for. They own rental property that cash flows, right? So it's a wealth generator. But the negative is headaches, right? Headaches, especially dealing with tenants and difficult professional tenants. Those guys can really, really create a headache for you on the income property. Another pro is a cash out refi. So when you do cash out refinances, in other words, when you refinance that income property and you take out cash, that is 100% tax free and much easier to do than your own home mortgage because you're not going to be papered to death, okay? So that's a huge plus. The negative is vacancies. What happens when a tenant loses their job, moves, etc.? You're going to have vacancies, and that's going to cause another set of problems. So pros and cons there. But what I may suggest is, what if the rental property becomes a vehicle for you to buy your house? So what if it becomes a segue? We call this house hacking, right? In other words, you may buy a property and then you rent a portion of it to help subsidize your mortgage, or vice versa. Maybe the rental property, the excess cash flow helps diminish or reduce some of your mortgage. So there's an opportunity to do both. But here, I just wanted to frame up some pros and cons that you may not have thought about. And I don't have the answer. Every market, every situation is different, but hopefully this helps frame up some of the pros and cons for you.